the role of consequences in our parenting is often challenging for many parents. So often in parenting, we've used consequences incorrectly. We see a child doing something wrong, and so we quickly let them know exactly what's going to happen. You keep doing that, and this is what's going to happen. You do that, and I'm taking away your whatever. No, you shouldn't be doing it. You do that one more time, and you can forget. And we just kind of announce the consequence. That's it. I'm taking this away, whatever it is. Tell me, how many of us respond well when that's the way we're treated? Not too well. How many kids turn and look when we tell them, hey, we're taking this away, here's the consequence for that, and they look and go like, oh, is that the consequence? I'm so sorry, Father. I'm so sorry, Mother. You are clearly correct. Please forgive me. None of them react that way. This isn't working. So we need to do something a little bit different. The problem is not consequences. Don't get rid of consequences. Understanding their role is what's important. So if we look at what God does with you and me, that's what we're going to take our cues from. Because God's ultimately the one who transforms hearts. So we look at him and how he transforms our hearts and then apply that to our parenting. When you and I mess up, which unfortunately we still do, when we mess up, God doesn't like turn around and say, all right, somebody hand me a thunderbolt. BJ's got it coming. I can't believe he did that again. I got to be consistent, you know. Like, that's not how it works, okay? That's not what Jesus does. What does he do? Well, we often see in Scripture, Jesus starting by using his word. For you and me, people who live after the Bible's been published, God's going to use the Bible. And you ever have those times where you open up your Bible and all of a sudden you're reading a passage and you're like, whoa, this applies to something I'm struggling with. Or you show up to church and your pastor has no idea what's going on in your life really, but their preaching is right spot on for the thing you're struggling with. Or you turn on the Christian radio and there's a message or song that's on and you're like, oh, that's the thing, right? God's trying to get your attention with his words. And if you and I respond the right way to God's words, he goes, great, right? BJ's doing great. He heard what I had to say. He repented. He fixed it up. He's moving forward. Great. We're done. But sometimes we don't get it. When we don't get it, God starts looking and going, okay, I need to do some other things here. I need to help BJ, or whoever we're talking about here, reflect a little bit better. He needs to slow down a little bit. He needs to take a little pause, take a little break, and see what he's doing and how he needs to change. And so God starts putting things in our lives to slow us down, to cause us to pause. He might bring people in our lives who start speaking into it. We don't know. He uses a lot of different tools. But ultimately, he's trying to get us to pause, to calm down, and recognize what we're doing that's wrong, why it's wrong, and what we should do the next time. And when we do that, God says, great, you got the picture. We're done. But sometimes in the process of hearing his word or needing to slow down and pause, sometimes we don't get the message quick enough and we do some things that cause some consequences to happen. You see, consequences are not about having a new term that doesn't say the word punish. Some people, I think, hear the word consequences and they think, oh, that's just the fancy new term for punishment. No, they're conceptually, punishments are just about exacting justice upon the person. It's like putting them in the penalty box in hockey. It's like sending them a fine for what they did wrong. It's like giving out a ticket. That's not the point of consequences. Consequences are looking to continue the teaching of our discipline. Discipline should not be a negative word because discipline comes from the word disciple. Discipleship is good. It's hard sometimes, and that's why we think discipline's bad, but it's hard, but it's good for us. It is a pathway to wisdom, and consequences are part of that pathway. And so what we see is that sometimes, yes, our actions, even when God's just using his word to get our attention, might bring some other consequences along. So how do we change this to our parenting now? We need to see consequences as a tool we use. So let's now take your example. I'm looking for an age on this kid here in the checkout line, but I don't see an age. So I'm assuming we're talking about somebody under the age of 10. We'll play that out for example here. So let's think about consequences. Announcing a consequence on the spot is not going to help. Your kid's just going to get their back up in a corner and come out fighting. And that's what's happening. That's why the big emotions are happening. We're confronting that kid in the emotional moment and announcing to them how this is all going to go wrong. And so they get backed into a corner and they have to fight back now. And who are they going to fight? Not their sin. They're going to fight you. And so that's what we're trying to avoid in that situation because that's ultimately not helping them. So a couple of things we're going to do. First of all, can we just all admit that all of us have been there? Like we've all had this. Thank you for asking this question. You are not odd man out here. Like this happens to all of us. 2, thanks for bringing your kid shopping still. It's so much easier just to order online and not train our kids in some of these really important heart qualities by going to the store with them. So thank you for doing that. And 3, can we admit going to the store and standing in the checkout line and having a kid who stays focused on the right things there, that's like the final exam of parenting, okay? It's hard. There's all the candy and the colorful magazines, and everything's there. So let's admit this is a challenging moment, and we need to work on some heart qualities at home before we take them on the road. Again, I would highly recommend going to JesusHelpMeParent.com/connected cooperation, because that instruction routine, and also you'll learn what you do when things don't go the right way. How do you respond to kids when they misbehave in a way that molds the heart and helps you stay connected? That's all there. That'll help you here. But if we're working on following instructions at home, when you get to the store, you're going to give some instructions. Like before you go in, establishing what we expect in the moment as you're getting closer to the line. Hey, we're getting closer to the line. Remember what we said. We're going to stay on line. We're going to hold the cart, whatever the things are that you're saying to your kid. So we're going to motivate them in the right way, give them the instructions up front. But now we've got a kid who decided to wander off. Let's just take the scenario out, because sometimes we're going to say the things right in the car, or we're even going to pray in the car before we go into the shopping center, and it's still going to go the wrong way. What do we do with that kid? They just ran off. Well, it gets a little complicated. It would be great if we had a second person around to stay with the cart while we go to the kid and deal with them. But if you don't have that available to you, we're going to need to work on things before we get there. We're going to need to be okay with leaving the line with our cart and stuff and going after our kid at that point. We're not going to run. This is not a game, but we're going to walk, because it's not safe for our kid to be out there all by themselves. We're not going to yell at them or anything like that. We're just simply going to walk over. We're going to say, Jonathan, you need to come back here. And at this moment, we're going to look at Jonathan. We're going to say, Jonathan, you're doing the wrong thing. You need to stay with me in the cart. If you want to see something over there, that's perfectly fine. Once we're done paying, you and I can talk. But right now, we're online, and we need to stay here. He's not going to like that, most likely, because he wants to go see that thing over there. We're going to have to tell him, no, we need to stay here and pay. And then you're going to go through the line. You're going to pay for the stuff. And at the end, back there, you're going to say, thank you for being patient. Now, what was it you wanted to see? And we're going to make a choice at that point as a parent. We're going to choose to either one, say, wow, that sounds really interesting. Unfortunately, we need to get going, so we're going to have to see that next time we come and go, which I can't say I would advise that. Or two, we're going to say, wow, okay, that sounds interesting. Even though you're like, they have that here every week. Wow, that sounds interesting. Let's go put the groceries away in the car, and then we'll come back in for a moment and just take a quick look. BJ, it's adding so much time. Yeah, I get it. But your kid just waited patiently online. And your kid just asked the right way afterwards. So I want to feed that positive response. So I'm going to adapt in this moment and do that. Now, if your kid's whining the whole time you're online, when you get to the end, you're going to turn and say kindly to your child, hey, I really wanted to hear what you had to say and go check out whatever that was. I was going to put all the groceries in the car and come back in with you. But I don't want to reward the heart that you're showing right now. Because whining and complaining and yelling at me while we're standing here online is not the expected types of attitudes and behaviors that we have. We'll talk more about it when we get home. And just get home. That's how we're going to handle it in the moment in the store. We're using this combination of relationship and firmness in the moment. Firmness is not harsh. Harshness is when we take firmness and we dump our emotions on top. And we don't want to do that. Firmness is just saying, this is what we're going to do right now. And when our kid gets upset at that moment, we're going to have to say, wow, you're really upset about this, aren't you? I get it. Like it might be a little bit noisier of a car ride home. Expect that. And acknowledge the emotion your kid feels in the car. Just say, wow, this is really tough for you. I get it. You're really frustrated, aren't you? Excuse me. And your kids are like, you're right, I'm frustrated. And they're going to yell and things like that. They're working through an emotion at that point. Are they doing it the right way? No. But we're kind of stuck. We're in a car. We've got groceries. We've got ice cream melting. We don't have too many options here in the moment. So in the moment, we're looking to just get through and get home. But let's talk about some other heart tools you can use and where consequences come into play. So right away, one of the consequences in this situation is that I'm going to need to be bringing probably someone else along. That might be an older sibling who can be responsible and wait with the cart when I have to walk off and go get my kid. It might be a spouse who can do that as well. But I'm also going to want to work on following instructions. Because if I have a kid who can't follow my instructions, like go put your shoes away and come back and check in. You need to brush your teeth and come back and check in. You need to clear your spot from the table into the dishwasher and check back in. If I don't have a kid who can do those basic things, going to the store is not really something I can do right there. So I need to work on following instructions. We're using a training tool. We're going to train our child's heart to respond the right way. And again, JesusHelpingParent.com/connected cooperation. This is coming up in all the questions tonight. Go there and you're going to work on these types of things. But that also means we need to also teach our child, hey, you know how a lot of times when we go to the stores, you do great when we're walking through the store, but then we get online, you suddenly see something and you run off. Have you noticed that my response has not been positive to that? And we usually end the store time in a really negative space. Let's change that. Here's what you're going to do. I like the fact that you're looking around, you see things you like, and I want to learn more about you by learning about what you like. But the way you're going about it is really causing this negative interaction to happen. So here's what you're going to do instead. It's important we teach children not just to stop doing stuff, but to start doing the right thing as well. And so we're going to teach our child, when you see that thing over there off the line, you're going to do it. And there's a couple of ways we could teach our kid. You're going to say, Mommy, I see something I'm interested in. Can I tell you what I see? Boom. Those are great words to use right there, because our child is not saying, can I go see it? Because I don't think your child's ready for that just yet. 7 years old and having this type of meltdown, right? So can I tell you about it? Yes, you can tell me about it. What is it you see? Can you see over there, Mommy? Da, da, da. Oh, I can see that. Can I go see it? Well, we're online right now. Once we put our groceries in the car, let's come back and check it out. Or we're online right now, but that'll be here. We're coming back on Thursday to pick up, fish or whatever. So we'll check it out then. Your kid's going to be disappointed probably. Oh, man, I really wanted to see. Oh, hey, whew, hold on a second. Let me see your eyes, bud. Let me see your eyes. You're really disappointed by coming back next Thursday, aren't you? Yeah, I am. I get it. But you know what? This is the challenge for you right now. You just got some news that you don't like. And your heart's probably saying, I just want to run over there right now, but don't do it. You're hanging in there right now with me. If you need me to hold your hand right now, I'd love to do that to help you so we can get to the car and celebrate what a great job you did dealing with this disappointment. Like, we want to help our kid in this moment. Think of yourself as a coach. When coach watches the team play on the field, if things are starting to go the wrong way, coach tries to call a timeout real quick. Get a kid over here. Don't take the word timeout and mean take a timeout in the middle of the store. That's not what I mean. But you know what I mean. Come on over here, buddy. Let me talk to you. Coach does a little pep talk, gives them a new play to run. That's what we're going to do in the moment with our kid. We're going to coach them through this really challenging moment. That's all the work we can do with instructions and helping our kid move forward. However, we need to also deal with those big emotions. And we need to help our child notice their body signals sooner. We need to help our child identify calming tools they can use for themselves, breathing tools, kinesthetic activities they can do just there on the spot, ways that they can learn to calm when they're starting to get upset. The more we work on connecting with our children and building a positive relationship, the easier it is for them to self-regulate. And the more we show them self-regulation tools so they can start finding the tools that work for them, the easier it will be for them to use those tools in the moment at the store when they're really wanting to go run over there. In due time, you work on this enough, you're going to find yourself all of a sudden saying yes when your kid asks, can I just go? It's right over there. And you're going to say something like, hey, okay, you could go, but let's see how you do. You need to come back when I call you, or you can go, but you got to be back within a minute. Ready? I'll set the timer. Go for it. And your kid's going to get great at this.